grade fives. It is Tuesday. I hope that you all had such an awesome long weekend, that you did something really productive and something really cool, or maybe you just relaxed. But this is a very short week that we have together. We only have today, tomorrow, and Thursday because Friday is another public holiday. So it's going to be awesome, but we've got lots to do and lots to learn about, and we're just here to have fun. So starting our lesson off with another one of Miss Kun's very lame jokes, just to get you to smile and to start the day. Why did the student eat his homework? Because the teacher said it was a piece of cake. So I wonder how many times your teacher has said that to you. Oh man, it's a piece of cake, you'll be fine. So yeah, I quite enjoyed that joke because I know that I've said it quite a few times to my students. Anyways, so remember grade fives that this English lesson is brought to you by WorksheetCloud. And if you've got any questions, please email them to WorksheetCloud, at WorksheetCloud.com. Okay, I've said it quite a few times and I still mess it up. Sorry. Okay, so grade fives, what we are doing today in English, we're going to focus a bit on language. And we are going to look at prefixes and suffixes, right? And looking at different examples. So specifically, our objectives for today's lesson, we're going to look at root words, we're going to look at prefixes, suffixes, and then what we call the silent E rule. And this particular rule is very important with spelling, okay? So I think for this particular lesson, we're going to be doing quite a few different examples and activities together. So if you want to quickly pause the video, get yourself a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil so that you can do some work while I teach, or when I say to you, okay, pause, do it, and then unpause, and then I'll give you the answers. But you do need something to write with. So I'm going to start off by talking about what a root word is. Now, specifically, if we think about the word root, a root of a plant it's the sort of the beginnings of your plant, in terms of it's the base of the plant where it anchors itself to the ground. So it anchors your plant to the ground. And so your root is there for anchorage. It's, I would say, the base of the plant, if I'm going to put it like that. And I'm sort of making reference to plants because it's sort of the same concept applies to English as well. A root word is a word or a word part that contains the basic meaning of the word as a whole. Okay, it is the fundamental part of your word. And then the rest of the word can sort of wrap around your root word, whether it's in the beginning or the end, which I'm going to get into. The meaning of the root word can be changed by combining two or more root words, or by adding prefixes and suffixes. So if we have a root word, that root word, the meaning of that word can be changed, and the type of word can be changed just by adding a prefix or a suffix, by changing the beginning or the end of the word. And it actually it changes the whole meaning of the word in total. And we're going to go through some examples by that. A root word is also important because by knowing the meaning of the root word, it actually helps us understand the new word that is formed by either adding your prefix and your suffixes. So by identifying a root word, it's important because if you have no idea what that word as a whole means, we identify that root word, we look at that root word, we sit and think, okay, I know what the root word means, so let's try and figure out what the rest of the word means in context. Okay, so here's an example. If we have the word unpredictable, so I can tell you right now, the weather in Gauteng is very unpredictable. I'm sitting in Gauteng. Wherever you are in the country, I'm sure you can agree that the weather is something that is unpredictable. You wake up in the morning, it's cloudy and overcast, and then all of a sudden the sun starts to shine and it's starting to get warmer. And at the moment we're going through our change of season and we're heading into autumn, and it's getting a little bit more chilly. As you can see, I've got my thick jersey on because it's quite chilly here in Gauteng. And so if we look at the word unpredictable, so if I sort of break up this word unpredictable and I look at the word the two letters un would be part of our prefix, but more importantly, the root word of this whole word unpredictable is the word predict. And if you predict something, you have a guess of what is going to happen almost. And so that is the root word of this entire word. And the last bit of this word, this little tail end of the word, is known as our suffix of what we add onto it. So the root word of unpredictable is the word predict. We have suffix, which is in the beginning, the prefix, which is in the beginning. Sorry, this is a mistake. It should be suffix here at the end, not prefix. And we've got our suffixes here at the end, and I'll talk about suffixes a little bit later. Okay, so now that we've spoken about a root word, we are going to just go through why they're helpful, again, why it's important that we know exactly what the root words are. Okay, so first of all, we use the root word, as I said, to help you with spellings. So by using the root word, it does assist us with spelling, which is quite important. Remember that English spelling is so important throughout the language. I'm sure your English teachers are also very strict with you on spelling. I'm very strict in spelling. In all the subjects that I teach my class, I'm very strict in spelling because spelling is very important and fundamental in the English language. Remember that also point number 2, if you recognize the root of a word when you're reading, it can help you work out what the word is and what it actually means. So as I've mentioned before, if we know what the meaning of the root word is, we can then figure out what the rest of the word in its whole means together. And then lastly, remember that there are spelling rules for adding suffixes and prefixes to root words. So again, it also, by knowing what a root word is, it not only helps with the spelling concept or the ideas of spelling, but also to understand what the word is as a whole, because we can break it up into parts when we look at that particular root word. So root words, as I mentioned, as with reference to a plant, just how the roots of a plant anchor the plant to the ground. Root words are there because they anchor the word and they are sort of the base in which the rest of the word can form. Okay, so root words are very important. Right, moving on to a prefix. Now, as the name suggests, if we talk about anything pre, we talk about before. So if we talk about prehistoric, we talk about prehistoric times. It is times that happened before history, right? And so if we look at what a prefix is a word part that is added to the front of a base word or your root word to change the meaning of that word. More than one prefix may mean the same thing. Interestingly enough, we have certain prefixes that actually, when we add them onto a word, they actually mean the same thing. So for example, if we look at the prefixes dis, so you put dis before a word, an before a word, or non before a word, all of them mean the opposite of, or it means not. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Okay, so let's have a look. So if I have the word dis as a prefix and I add it onto my root word would be approve. So if you approve something, you agree. But if I say disapprove, it means I do not approve. So dis, we're saying no. If we have the word toxic as our root word and we add the word non or the letters non for a prefix and it becomes non-toxic, it means it's not toxic, which means it's safe. If we have the root word happy and we add the prefix an, we put the two together, unhappy, it means we're not happy. So we can have those three prefixes that can also mean the same sort of thing where it means not or the opposite of. Okay, now we're going to practice. So here you're going to have your piece of paper and your pencil, and we're going to do one sort of word at a time. When I present a word, I want you to think, okay, am I going to add the prefix an? Am I going to add the prefix non? Or am I going to add the prefix dis? So the very first one is the word zip. Now remember, with each one, I'm going to give you the word and then I'm going to present the answer. So if you want to pause, write it down, unpause the video, please do so. I encourage you to do that. So if I have the word zip, let's see is it going to be unzip, non-zip, or dis-zip, right? What is the correct prefix for the word zip? It is unzip. Number 2 is the word honest, dishonest, non-honest, or unhonest. It is dishonest. Good. Number 3, respect. What is going to be the prefix to add to respect? We have disrespect. Number 4, the word agree. What are we going to add to the beginning of agree? Disagree. Good. Number 5, stop. What do we add to stop? We say non-stop when you're working non-stop. Question number 6, fair. What do we add to fair? We say something is unfair. It is unfair. Number 7, obey. So if we obey something, we are agreeing with the rules and we're following and practicing the rules of something. If you do not follow the rules, you disobey the rules. Disobey. Number 8 is the word ripe. If we have a ripe banana, the moment that it's not ripe anymore, or if it's unripe, should I say, when a banana is green, it's unripe, it's not ready just yet. And number 9, if we have the word pleasant, if you're happy and something is great, if it's not happy or great, we say it is unpleasant. And number 10, if we talk about here, if something is fat, or particularly if you think about yogurt, full fat yogurt, we can also have non-fat yogurt, right? So there is some examples there. Right, so remember that a prefix is added to the beginning of a word to make a new word. Okay, again, we're going to practice again. So now these are other types of prefixes. Remember, we don't just get prefixes such as your un, non, and dis. We also get prefixes that begin with miss. We have prefix here as un again. We have in, right? And then we're going to look a little bit more in the next slide. So what I want you to do is to pause your video. And the goal of this particular activity in this table is that I've got root words here on the side. I want you to think, right, which of these prefixes would go with the word tied? Would you say miss tied? Would you say untied? Would you say in tied? Whichever ones you think, I want you to put a cross in the box. So if you want to pause the video, redraw your table, and then I'm going to go through all the answers. Ready, set, go. Okay, now's the time where I hope that you have paused. Now you've unpaused. Now let's go through the answers. So we would classify tied as untied. We would say unconnect. We would say misshape, right? We would say indirect. Okay, good. Second activity, let's go. We now have new prefixes. We've got dis, we've seen before. We've got pre, and we've got over. Our root words are qualify, count, order, charge. 3, 2, 1, pause. Okay, and unpause. Let's see the answers. Disqualify, when you disqualified from a race. Also, we can say pre-qualify. You can pre-qualify for something, for a deal of some kind. We say you discount. If we have a discount, when we go to the shops, we get a great discount. We say disorder if we want to not do an order. We can also do a pre-order where we order beforehand. Then we say discharge when a patient is discharged from the hospital. And we can also say the word overcharge, where we feel, oh, I've been so overcharged when I went and bought this item from the shops. So do you see that the word charge, the moment that I add the word dis, is a completely different meaning. Discharge is very different to overcharge, and it changes the meaning of the actual word, which is quite important. Okay, that brings us to a suffix. So a suffix is the opposite of a prefix. Pre goes before the root word. Suffix goes at the end of a root word. Right, adding suffixes to words can change or add to their meaning, but most importantly, they show how a word will be used in a sentence and what part of speech it is. So it can also change the word into a noun, a verb, or an adjective, and it shows what part of speech it is. Okay, so for example, if I add the suffix able, means to be able to be. If I add the suffix meant, it's the act of. If I add the suffix ness, happiness, it is being. So if you're showing happiness, it's being happy, for example. Okay, so passable means able to pass. So the ball is passable. If I have a rugby ball, it's passable, so we're able to pass the ball. Movement, it's the act of moving. We're able to move. Kindness, it's the act of kindness. It's the ability of being kind. So she is showing kindness, which means she's being kind, right? So instead of saying she is being kind, we can just say she's showing kindness. Okay, for example. So it shows the ability of being kind. Okay, so let's have a look at another practice. So get your piece of paper and your pen or pencil ready. Right, so again, with every word, I'm going to show a word. So the first word is depend. And now you've got three options. Do we say dependable? Do we say dependment? Do we say dependness? So out of these three suffixes, which would be the correct suffix to add to the root word depend? It is dependable. Good. Number two, sad. Is it sadable, sadment, or sadness? Sadness. Good. Number three, amaze. What is the correct suffix for amaze? It is amazement. You are in amazement, is to be able to be amazed. Good. Number four, manage. Now there are two options here. We have option one is manageable. It's to be able to be managed. Okay. And then we have management. Right. If we talk about management. Number four, soft, softable, softment, softness. Which one is it? Softness. Good. Number six, accept. Is it acceptable? Acceptment, acceptness. It is acceptable. Good. Good job. I'm sure you've aced it and you've all gotten it correctly. Okay. Now we talk about the silent E rule. Now this particular rule goes hand in hand with the suffix, and this rule is important because it refers to the spelling. Okay. Remember what I said to you, that is important to know about root words because it does help us in the spelling of the entire word when we have added prefixes and suffixes. Well, here is that sort of rule in play where we call it the silent E rule. So sometimes the base word or the root word must change when a suffix is added and the spelling of that word changes. And this is where we call the silent E rule. Now this rule is when a root word ends with a silent E and the suffix begins with a vowel, we leave that E from the root word out. So for example, if we have the root word like, and you see the like ends in an E, and then my suffix is ing, do you see we've got a vowel there, so we remove that E and we say like ing without that E. Same with tame as the root word and the word able, so it's the ability to be tame. We've got a vowel there, so we say tameable, and you can see now we don't have that E there anymore. Same as with wide and ist. We've got a vowel, and we remove that E, we know it as the silent E rule, and we spell it wide ist with only one E. We don't have that double E over here. Okay, are you ready to practice? Pen and paper, let's go. So number one, fame plus is or aus gives us famous without that E. Number two, ripe plus est. Okay, remember to drop that E, becomes ripest with one E. Number three, tune and ing, drop your E, becomes tuning. Number four, joke and becomes joker. Remember, one E. We don't have the two E's over there. We drop that E. Silent E rule. Number 5. Storeable. Remember the ability to store. Drop that E, becomes storeable. And number 6, smokeless. Now this is a trick one because you can see, so I wanted to see if you are paying attention. So we've got a consonant there, we've got a vowel there. We do not drop that E and it becomes smokeless, just the two together, because it's only if we've got vowel plus vowel together, we drop that silent E. Here with this E, we're going to add it to a consonant, so there's no need to drop it. Okay. And so that brings us to the end of our lesson on prefixes, suffixes, and more importantly, our root words, which anchors our whole word together. There's a few words and new sort of concepts there. And remember, boys and girls, if you want to go back and rewatch the video, pause in the activities. I really encourage you to do so. Do the activities, unpause, have a look at it. Remember that these videos, I hope, are very helpful for you, as well as remember the attached activities that are attached to this particular lesson as a whole. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I shall see you all tomorrow, same time, same place, wherever you are sitting right now watching me. I will be here again tomorrow. Stay warm if it's cold wherever you are in the country. And remember from me, Miss Kun, Hakuna Matata. Don't worry about a thing. Be kind to one another. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.